Now, some people, Republicans, are saying that she's the grown-up in the room. Yeah, we've heard that before.
The way the hosts of The View react to anything even slightly outside their bubble is honestly hilarious, but also really frustrating. Watching them talk about politics feels like watching a group of people who think they know everything but can't handle even the smallest disagreement. Instead of having a real conversation, they just insult anyone who doesn't share their opinions and argue with each other when things don't go their way. It's no wonder people think the show should be renamed The Judgment, because that's all they seem to do, judge and complain. Take their reaction to Trump's new chief of staff, Susie Wiles, as an example.
Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris, the job you did.
This woman is the first female chief of staff, which is a big deal. But you wouldn't know it from watching The View. Instead of celebrating her accomplishments, they mocked her and made snarky comments. Joy Behar said things like, "Where were the guardrails when she helped him run his campaign?" and called her the Ice Maiden.
Where were the guardrails when she helped him run his campaign, when he was talking about immigrants eating pets, Arnold Palmer's junk?
Why is it so hard for them to give credit where it's due? If this were a Democrat appointing the first female chief of staff, you know they dedicate an entire episode to praising her. But because it's Trump, they act like it doesn't even matter. This hypocrisy is so obvious. These are the same people who constantly say they want to see women breaking barriers, yet when it happens on the wrong side, they either ignore it or tear the woman down. One comment I saw said it perfectly. The View doesn't care about women. How else can you explain their reaction to Susie Wiles? If they truly cared about women's progress, they'd celebrate this milestone, even if they didn't like who appointed her. Instead, they just look bitter and petty. It's also ridiculous how they always try to spin things to make themselves look superior. Ana Navarro said, "The reason it resonates more when Democrats do it is because Democrats tout it more proudly." What does that even mean? So Democrats are better because they're louder about their accomplishments? That's not how leadership works. People care about results, not how much you brag about yourself. The fact that the hosts think this is a valid argument just shows how out of touch they really are.
She wanted more control over who could get in to see the president because, quote, the clown car can't come into the White House at will.
Let's not forget Joy Behar's rant about undecided voters. She mocked them, saying, "Get off the fence already," as if everyone should automatically see things her way. Not everyone has the luxury of living in an echo chamber like she does. Some people are genuinely trying to make the best decision for themselves and their families. Mocking them for taking their time just shows how little respect she has for people who think differently. Sunny Hostin also had her share of absurd comments. She kept focusing on what's wrong with America instead of addressing why people voted for Trump. One viewer pointed out that this kind of rhetoric is exactly why the Democrats lost. Calling half the country racist or uneducated isn't going to win anyone over. It just makes people tune out. Instead of being introspective and asking, what can we do better, the hosts doubled down on blaming voters. It's as if they can't even entertain the idea that maybe, just maybe, they're part of the problem.
Country
Half the
that
country
allows its
doesn't agree with
environment to
him.
be ravaged, its children to be shot, its wealth to be hoarded, its worker to be exploited, its poor to starve, its cops to murder.
So you think America's the
country
problem?
in problem?
The funniest part of all of this is how often they contradict themselves. They spend years calling Trump a misogynist, but when he appoints the first female chief of staff, they act like it's no big deal.
The minute she goes up
bias.
against him, the minute she goes in front of him, so Joe Rogan's going to get that job.
As one viewer said, years of calling him a misogynist just went down the drain. If they were consistent, they'd at least acknowledge that this is a step forward for women in politics. But consistency isn't their strong suit. One of the rare moments of sanity came from Alyssa Farah Griffin, who actually gave Susie Wiles credit for her qualifications. She said, "It's important we're giving her her due, that she shattered the glass ceiling."
that she shattered this glass ceiling. One of the reasons I constantly hear from Republicans of why they don't really trust the mainstream media is they feel like there's a bias in it.
Of course, the other hosts quickly moved past this point because acknowledging a Republican woman's achievements doesn't fit their narrative. It's like they're so blinded by their dislike for Trump that they can't even see anything else. Even their arguments with each other are entertaining in the worst way. When Sarah Haynes tried to explain why voters didn't resonate with the Democrats' messaging, the other hosts couldn't handle it. Haynes pointed out that people care about issues like safety, the economy, and the border, not abstract ideas like joy and inclusiveness. Instead of listening, the other hosts interrupted and dismissed her. It's like they can't stand hearing a valid point that challenges their worldview. Meghan McCain was right when she called The View a radical, progressive, insane asylum. Watching these women argue and tear each other down is proof of that. They can't even agree on basic things without turning it into a shouting match. One viewer summed it up perfectly. If Susie is the grown-up in the room, where is the grown-up in The View's room? It's a good question because the hosts act more like high school students than adults discussing serious issues. So, before moving on to what more The View hosts had to say, subscribe to our channel as we bring you the deepest secrets from Hollywood. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you always stay updated. Let's talk about Kamala Harris for a moment. The hosts love defending her, but they never address the real reasons people are hesitant to support her. Being a woman isn't a qualification for leadership, and it's not sexist to point that out. Leadership is about experience, vision, and the ability to connect with people. Harris has struggled to show that she's ready for the top job. When Sunny Hostin asked her, "What would you do differently than Biden?" her answer was, "There's not a thing that comes to mind." That's not inspiring. It's concerning. If you can't explain how you would lead differently, why should people trust you to lead at all? Joe Biden, for all of his flaws, at least had the experience and the ability to match Trump's popularity. He didn't spend his time getting caught up in petty fights or making vague promises. Harris, on the other hand, seems more focused on appealing to everyone without taking a strong stance on anything. People notice that kind of inconsistency, and it's why she struggles to connect with voters. Trump's victory proves that the American people see through the nonsense. Shows like The View have spent years demonizing him and his supporters, but all they've done is push people further away. As one viewer said, "Thank you, The View, for getting Trump elected again." It's true. Their constant negativity and inability to engage with real issues have done more to help Trump than to hurt him. In the end, The View isn't helping anyone. They're not promoting meaningful conversations or bridging divides. They're just a group of people yelling at each other and anyone who disagrees with them. If they were truly as great as they think they are, more people would share their perspective. The fact that they don't says a lot. Maybe it's time for the hosts to take a hard look in the mirror and ask themselves why their show is becoming a joke. Until then, they should embrace their new name, The Judgment. It's a perfect fit for what they've become. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell icon so you always stay updated. See you in the next one.